me? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast show in some magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are all sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best of your custom computing needs. Get $100 off using code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Links in the description of the podcast below. Let's go to our feature presentation. We have Nathan James on the podcast today. Nathan James is part of the active rock scene, going with some takes of like metalcore, new metal, alternative metal in his music. There's a lot of good stuff coming here, and if you don't know about him, you're going to. If you do know about him, we got some fun stuff for you, including talk of the debut of what? I'm not even going to spoil it right now. You're going to hear about it really quickly at the beginning of the episode, so go check it out. We also talk about how he's growing this on social media, including the reason why YouTube should be the most important spot for all musicians right now, and I am totally behind that as well, along with just some other great things as well, including why he's so fully into music compared to what he was doing beforehand, being one of the most desired entertainment photographers in the industry. There's a lot of great stuff here and a lot of great stuff from this musician that could be one of the biggest ones in the next 5 to 10 years. So be ready for him. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. Today, we have a rock star in every sense of that phrase here with us today. Not only does he have great music coming out, not only is he being featured heavily on places like Sirius XM Octane, especially with the most recent single at the time of this recording called Alienation, but this dude is one of the most desired entertainment photographers out there. I mean, I was looking through who he shot for: Lil Wayne, Justin Bieber, MGK, Avril Lavigne, Post Malone, and that's just some of the names. I'm not even mentioning all of them, but you take a look at those names, you're thinking, my God, this is insane, and this dude is in the rock and metal space making kick-ass music? Yeah, I gotta know who this is. At the time of recording, he's on tour with Attila, Butcher Babies, and Dead. So if you got a chance to go out and see him, go out and see him play live. And if you haven't got a chance to go out and see him this tour, just wait. There'll be more dates coming. So please welcome Nathan James to the podcast. So Nathan, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Let's go. Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, brother.
Hey, thanks for being on, man. How is everything going in your world right now? Because I know currently while we're shooting this, you're on tour. But dude, how is everything in life going at the moment?
Man, everything right now is pretty solid. We have 10 shows left. It's been a long tour. It's been a fun tour, but difficult tour, and that's just how touring is. But everything is good. I'm excited for you. Again, 10 shows left. Kill these next 10 shows, and then get ready to prep my album, my first ever album that's going to come out in July.
Oh, shit. So not only are we going to get, maybe more shows, but we're going to get a full album come July. My God, I didn't even know if that was coming. And now, shit, you got me more excited than I was even before we started this thing. God damn, man.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We're going to have my first album ever in July. I spent a lot of time on this and constructing it and just the visuals and the music videos. So I'm just very curious to see how it's received and how, what kind of growth and things come from it. But yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Well, now I'm more interested in this than anything else, really, just because I'm hearing there's a brand new album coming out and seeing especially what's going on with rock and metal today, in the past couple of years, just seeing how so many more people are taking to it. So many people are trying to get into it. It's like the revival that we'd all been hoping for the past 10 years is finally fully into fruition. So we're seeing artists come out that are creating great music that people are just getting excited for over and over and over again. And last year we had Jairus Johnson on the podcast, and it feels like this is a very similar feel too, where it's like, okay, now this is exciting. This is insane. This is going to be picked up by a lot of places, a lot of people. So alrighty, let's just jump into it. When it comes to this album that you're working on, when it comes to the sound that you're working on, what was the inspiration behind this, and how did this whole entire thing come into fruition?
Yeah, what's funny is when I first started making the album and putting it together and picking what songs were going to be on there, I didn't even know quite what direction. I was just like, hey, let's just start to write songs and just see what happens. And so many of the songs that are not out yet, and some of the songs that are already out but will be on the album, they're all depicting, this kind of survival message, and battling through just, people trying to weigh you down and keep you down, and whether it was things from the past or things in the current. So I would say a lot of the songs um, have this kind of like battlefield ground, the underdog, trying to prove people wrong type of feel to it. And that's just, really just relates a lot to me, both from in the past and currently with stuff. And so, yeah, some lone fucking soldier shit marching through the trenches.
I feel like that's going to be something a lot of people are able to get behind, especially in today's day and age, given the fact that it feels like every aspect of society is trying to weigh you down and you end up becoming the underdog in every single fight. If you take in a political sense, no matter what, people are on one side of the aisle or the other, they're going to feel like they're the underdogs. You take just people regularly in like their employment. Everyone feels like they're underpaid and probably are underpaid. Everyone feels like they're not getting the opportunities they deserve. So they feel like they have that underdog feel to them. So music like this with that kind of an inspiration, that kind of a message is going to be something that is easily going to not only attract current audiences that you're exposing your music to, but so many new ones that will be able to hear this come July, August, September, as this album really gets its full rollout. That's really where the exciting portion of this is coming in, just hearing from that right now.
Yeah. I mean, all that is, I'm just excited to have a body of work that's like, I've never done that yet with music. And like I said, it's going to be my first album. So I'm super like excited.
But it makes sense too, especially releasing music in the streaming age where everyone's focusing on the single, everyone's focusing on, okay, got to get the single, get it on this platform. Plus, it also gives you the freedom to try so many new things and not be restricted to like one large collection of songs. But at times you want that one large connection to encapsulate an era, encapsulate a sound, encapsulate a style. And there are still many rock and metal fans that just clamor for albums. So giving them that too, it's like, hey, you're giving people exactly what they are hoping for, but you're giving it to them in the way that you want to give it to them. So it's still authentically you.
Yeah. And I'm also doing it in a strategic way, right? Like, I know I'm not big enough for artists to just say, hey, here's 10 brand new songs. Like, they would flop, So what I'm doing to try to maximize potential on each song is I'm dropping singles leading up to the album. That way, when the album's out, it's not like, here's fucking, 10 songs and 8 of them are brand new, or 10 of them are brand new. It's like, here's these singles leading up to the album. When the album drops, maybe there's only, 2 brand new songs on it, but it's a whole body of work. That's the thing.
Yeah. And we're seeing many artists do stuff like that too. I think in the
that's a more modern way to do it, especially if, you're not fucking Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Cause no one's going to be able to
just drop something and go crazy.
Yeah, no one's going to be able to have like the overall reach that Taylor Swift or someone like that is going to have, where they can drop an album at any point. They can drop an album on a Tuesday at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's going to be the biggest hit of the month. But if you take a look at what other artists are doing now, there are so many that are going down that same path to maximize out on not only the growth of that album, but the impact that album can have in a streaming world. I think of Memphis May Fire on their Remade in Misery album, the album they're coming out with in end of March 2025. It's like almost every song was released as a single a year leading up to it. I know Falling in Verse and Ronnie Radke did that with Popular Monster.
The Falling in Verse album is very similar too, and they're massive. Even he's kind of doing that same type of method as well, so.
Yeah, and I also think about too, it's you get a chance to actually listen to these songs, and then you get a chance to really get into them, and each song ends up getting their fair due, because beforehand, when it was, maybe 1 or 2 singles and the whole album came out, yeah, you got a brand new album. It was like opening up a present on Christmas, but maybe some of those deep cuts just didn't get the time that they needed to become the biggest song out there. Think about Bad Omens with Death of Peace of Mind. The biggest song that ended up being Just Pretend, and that wasn't a single, but can you imagine if it would have been?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. That's why it's such a, it's a gamble. No one ever knows what will work or what won't work. It's just a fucking gamble, and so much boils down to just timing and luck. Like, you could have a fucking shitty song go great, or you could have a great song go shitty, So just right time, right place. Just, gotta keep throwing darts at the board, just the more chances you throw and try to make the best art you can, the higher probability of something sticking.
Yeah, and again, it's also time and consistency too. When it comes to these singles, it seems like you're releasing a new song like every not like here and then all of a sudden a couple months later there, then a week later. Then again, it's like there's a consistent flow to the new songs that you're releasing too. So it kind of becomes an anticipatory thing before this album release. But everyone's always like, okay, we're gonna get something new from Nathan James every couple of months. We know that that's gonna happen, and especially from one at the playlisting side. Octane, they're clamoring for that because they know the consistency is happening. They know they can end up pushing this out there if the song is good, which, let's be honest, they wouldn't be pushing this stuff if it wasn't. So you definitely got something going on here.
Yeah, thanks, man. And I really feel like Alienation is one of those types of songs that could be just massive. But again, it's only been out for a month, and it could be one of those songs that just is a slow climber. Because it's hard to, especially being like independent and not all this stuff. Like, it's hard to make a song really reach masses unless something can go viral to do that. And just because something doesn't go viral doesn't mean it's not a good song or a song that could be huge. Like, again, like I said, just so much luck and timing and right place, right time.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And even going with right place, right time, I'll bring up Bad Omens with Just Pretend once again. I mean, that song everyone heard for the first time in February of 2022, and that didn't start popping off and get its viral moment until August or September of that year. So there was a 6-7 month time frame in between when the song first was released and when it had that moment. So these songs can have their moments on there. Alienation can be a song that has that moment, not only based on the message that's behind it, but how the overall build with the electronic programming in the back and how the instrumentation helps build up to where your vocals are. Everything builds up to a point where it feels like something's not right or something is missing, but the whole entire song as a whole encapsulates that as the message. So by the time you're done with it, you totally understand why it sounds that way. And there is pieces in there that can have that viral moment, but you never know when it's going to hit. It could hit tomorrow. It could hit in a month. It could hit in a year. Heck, it could hit out of nowhere, like with Deftones getting popular on TikTok last year. I was
just about to mention Deftones, man. I remember, like, I've known Deftones forever, and I don't know, maybe it's like 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deftones monthly listeners were at 1 million, which is great. But now Deftones monthly listeners are like 13 million, And I'm sure those guys are just as like, what the fuck? This is awesome and crazy, because you just don't know. And that was decades, So it's just an interesting game, man. Everyone's story is totally different from someone else's, and you just fucking don't know when your time's going to come.
No one knows when their time is going to come, but all you can do is, it's very similar to like an investment strategy where no one knows that time is going to hit, but the more consistency you keep in there, the better chances you're going to have of having that moment hit. And
yeah,
you got that going.
You can't win if you don't play, so you just got to keep playing,
Yeah, and I mean, clearly you're playing, like you said, brand new album that's coming out in July. It seems like there's singles coming out every now and again, pretty consistently. Octane's picking up on overall like streaming services, playlisting. So there's definitely a lot going on there. I do have to ask though, because I was looking through the previous songs you have. Of course, you do have a feature with Paleface Swiss on this new album. Are there any features that you have on there that we should be super duper excited about, or is that something you're gonna keep close to the vest?
Yeah, right now, I don't know if there will be features on there, but if there are a feature on there, there'll definitely be some dope shit. Yeah, I love Paleface Swiss. All those guys are my friends, and I support them 100%. And I love what they're doing. And I think they'll be one of the bigger bands as like time goes on. They're already big and they're crushing. They started their own headline tour and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm super thankful for them reaching a hand out to a smaller guy and liking my stuff and willing to be doing a song with me and a music video and all that. And side note too, what's been good for me is YouTube, man. My growth on YouTube has been really big, and as a musician, it's really hard to grow your own YouTube channel, and not many artists spend time or effort into doing that. So I feel like I have a little bit of an upper hand or advantage with the fact that I've been having a lot of good success with my YouTube, and it's just due to me always put so much time into my music videos and creativity around that, and really like spending a lot of time in that pocket. So that's a very loyal fan base, the YouTube market. It's really hard to have people subscribe to your YouTube channel. It just is, especially being a musician. So when you do go get those subscribers, those people, those followers are loyal and committed to you. And like even me, my favorite artist, I'm not subscribed to their YouTube channel. So a YouTube subscriber is a much bigger thing in my opinion than an Instagram follower or a TikTok follower or something like that.
Oh, I have to agree with you on that too, because I even myself, I think about it. I don't follow my favorite artist or I don't subscribe to them on YouTube at all. I mean, I'm wearing a Rise Against shirt. I don't subscribe to them at all. I've got my We Came as Romans banner in the background. I don't subscribe to them on YouTube. But do I listen to their music all the time? Do I end up watching music videos pretty consistently? Yeah, I do. For the podcast, I have more subscribers on YouTube than I do have followers on Instagram. And it's like everyone's always pushing the social media side, pushing the short form content. But if people are subscribed to you on YouTube, it's because they want to watch those videos. They want to pay attention to them. And it is odd that maybe some artists, and a lot of artists, I'd say, aren't putting as much time and effort into that, because even though it is harder, the subscriber value seems to be a lot stronger than it would on other social platforms.
Yeah, big time. And it also pays better than any other platform. So in reality, it's a platform where artists should be spending their most amount of time on. But that's not the case with most of artists. So I'm putting a lot of time towards that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure too. I'm gonna make a brand new Instagram account too as well. I think after you have an Instagram account for so long, sometimes it can just dead, man. I don't know, it's just fucking dead. And I feel like that's what's happening to my account. It's been through so many phases. It's been through the phase of when I was just a photographer and I'm a musician and this and that. And like, I just want to start potentially a new Instagram account and just fresh slate, just new shit. I think it'll be better for me in the long run and surpass everything. It's better around everything.
It very well might be, and that's something that I will be very curious to see if not only you do that, but then watch the overall progression of that, due to the fact that we're living in a world where everyone is putting so much value on social media. There are record labels out there that are putting value on, and like how many subscribers you have, how many followers do you have, what's your post engagement. I know there are tours out there that are looking like, okay, what's your overall monthly listener count? What's your follower count? When that doesn't necessarily translate into how many people you're going to pull into a live setting, but it's something that people are really looking into. So there's a huge piece of it. The one thing I do want to ask is, because you're the first artist I've ever had on here who has very heavily, promoted putting time in your YouTube page, putting time in your YouTube channel and focusing in on that. What was the thing that really made you understand that and go down that road?
I think I understood my strengths and my weaknesses, right? And I knew that a strength of mine was visuals. And where visuals especially were really appreciated, where you can be just about your music and your visuals, is the music videos and YouTube. And that's really where and why and where I put that energy into. So, and it's been rewarding. But yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I was posting shorts, I was getting 20 views over and over and over and over and over and over again. But then eventually shit started to hit. And that's what this industry is, just survival of the fittest. And we're in a weird era, right? Because of social media, things are so new. It's so new to everybody. And I think it's also good that, because I see it, artists have it happen all the time, right? And not just artists, other creators, where their account was great at one point and then it just kind of deaded, specifically with Instagram. And that's happening to a lot of creators. And I think it's a new thing, and it's an okay thing to say, you know what, this account, whatever reason, it's just over. It just needs to be a new, fresh start with something new, and that's what I'm going to be doing with my Instagram account.
Now that makes a lot more sense compared to, maybe what other people have thought about or other things that I have heard about that idea as well. I do understand what you're talking about too, where for YouTube, you have more of a freedom to be visually creative and be visually more expansive with the time limit, with the expectation, and with the attention span of the average YouTube viewer. Because oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say also too with how YouTube works, right? I've never seen a creator on YouTube say, my YouTube account is dead. I see that just with Instagram, and I've seen with different creators and musicians and just whatever influencers create brand new accounts, and then they surpass where that old account was, and the engagement is better. And so it's obvious. It's just a thing that I think people need to tap. Sometimes you need to check out to check back in. And Instagram is definitely one of those platforms that I feel is like that.
Instagram
I don't know if it's their algorithm or what, but they love to push brand new accounts. And brand new doesn't mean 3 months. Brand new is a 1-year-old account, a 2-year-old account, a 3-year-old account. Some of these people have had accounts for over 10 years. Like, that's an old ass account. You'd probably be better off just creating something new, unless you're fucking, Selena Gomez and Kim Kardashian and, Drake and all these KSI, Mr. Beast, these fuck you size massive, artists and entertainers. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I'm honestly now thinking I'm going to have to try that with the Chord Progression Podcast Instagram account, because I've been at that account for, I want to say 6.5 years now. And it's just the growth on that. I was like, okay, there was some time there, and then there's just not much. There are times where I have shorts from the podcast that'll just like go off out of nowhere, which are fantastic. But then I'll take a look at some of them. It's like, okay, that one didn't do nearly as well, or that engagement wasn't nearly there. And it might be that reason too. I might need to do the refresh.
Yeah, and like the accounts that I see that have done really well consistently always are new accounts. That's it. And for Instagram, I don't know what it is. I don't have to push to it. I just know what I've seen, and it's new accounts that always do well.
Well, that's something for a lot of people to think about, even for myself thinking about as well. And if you're a person like myself too, where you might be thinking, well, I don't necessarily want to do that, or I'm afraid to do that because I've built up that account to a certain level and you put how much time in there, you're going to have to get out of the way.
There's that attachment, it's like a toxic relationship. Oh man, I've been with this person for 10 years. We got this, we got that. But hey, you cut that, you'll regrow 10 times better.
Shit, man, you're absolutely right there. And that's something for so many people to think about. But also, again, I would also implore more people to get in on the YouTube side of things and focus more in on that, just due to the fact that I'll take a look at your... Oh, yeah,
musicians do not neglect YouTube. I mean, you can sell merch on there. You can sell your tickets on there. You can post photos. I guarantee you so many people don't even know you can post photos on YouTube. Like, I post photos on YouTube and my people see it. You can post shorts and you can post music videos. Like, I personally feel, as for any creator, YouTube is the most lit social media out of all. Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, you're right, especially even for the podcast. I post all the episodes on there. I could post shorts on there. I can do just normal like social media style posts, like Facebook, pose a question and see what people are saying. When I used to do reaction videos, I'd go on there and say, okay, anybody having like an interesting reaction they want me to go to? And from doing that, I got sent a band from Indonesia, 3 women, all Muslim. They wear the hijabs and everything on stage. They play punk rock. So I listen to it, react. I'm like, okay, I got to go bring these women on the podcast. I did, and those are my best episodes to date. So you never know what's going to happen, but everyone is actually invested in what you're talking about. It's not just having it pop up every now and again. It's like, if they're going to be interested in a video and subscribe to it, they're going to be interested in more of your stuff. They're going to be interested in see what more is going on. It's much heavier of an investment than a TikTok follow or an Instagram follow. So much more meaningful behind it.
It's a way bigger deal. They're putting the ring on the finger with that. So.
That's a great way to describe it. It's like you're like subscribing. It's like, will you follow me, please? Will you watch everything? Put the ring on.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I agree. YouTube following, YouTube subscribing. Putting the engagement ring on the finger. Instagram and TikTok is just a one-time coffee date. So.
That might be one of my favorite analogies I've ever heard on this show. That is absolutely incredible. But speaking of YouTube as well, when it comes to new album coming out, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot more focus on that YouTube channel. We're going to see a lot more focus on music videos coming out for these songs. What's that going to look like?
There'll be a music video for every song. There'll be short form content for every song, everything. Yeah.
So everybody that is in the music industry, every fan, first off, go make sure you subscribe to Nathan James on YouTube. Go and be a part of that whole entire page. Not only as a way to enjoy great music and see some great visuals, but at the exact same time, maybe get an understanding of exactly what kind of power YouTube can have for your music and just everything around there. This is something that no one really is talking about, but I feel like definitely now needs to be talked about on a much more consistent basis.
Yeah, I agree. YouTube is such a neglected platform for musicians right now. And there's a time where it wasn't, right? There's a time where everything was so music video focused. Just because music videos aren't as viral as they were 10 years ago also doesn't mean that the YouTube platform still doesn't do tremendous things for people, you know? So yeah, there's not many YouTube videos doing a billion views anymore, but hey, it's still very, very, and I still think the most important platform, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to have to rethink some of the things we're doing on YouTube over here just as a way to maximize out on that a little bit further. But YouTube's always been my focus for 6 years. So I'm kind of okay with that, thinking like, okay, I didn't mess that up entirely.
Yeah,
but outside outside the whole YouTube thing, of course, on tour with Attila Butcher Babies and Dead right now, what has the reaction been like to you on stage and for fans to see you either for the first time, second time, or hopefully maybe the 10th time?
Yeah, no, the reaction has been really good. It's actually surprised me. There's been a lot of people that have come to shows before that are coming back. There's been a lot of people like, hey, I drove 4 hours just to be here to see you. We had one couple, they drove to 3 different shows in a row and saved up money and traveled hours to just come to 3 shows in a row and, you know, bought VIPs at the shows and like, you know, a lot of cool stuff like that. So stuff like that is always reassuring for any artist to be like, you know, okay, I'm doing the right things, moving in the right direction. People are liking it. New people are liking it. All that, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Have you been seeing more of a connection with the fans or more people like into your music on this tour compared to the tour you did last year within this moment in Kim Dracula?
Yes, 100%. And it's because of that tour that I did in this moment, Kim Dracula, and just, you know, growing naturally on other things. Like, you know, the more you grow, the more you're going to see like stuff like we're talking about. So it's cool to see that happen.
Yeah, and as time goes on, too, it's who knows what other tours you might end up on in the fall this year. You might end up on a tour that's going to be in front of 8,000-9,000 people a night. Sure, you might be your opener on it, but that's an absolute opportunity to get in front of 8,000-9,000 people every single night to show your music off, especially if they don't know it. And if they do know it, for them to get the live experience and to become more addicted to the sound as it goes on. Because let's be honest, I think people get more into music and like become feverish about an artist if they get to see him live versus just listening to him on a streaming platform or on the radio.
Yeah, 100%. If I could perform in front of 200 people who love my shit, who are open to loving my shit, and then at the end of the set they love it and they're obsessed, versus 100,000 views on a platform, I'm gonna take that 200 people at a time, because just the conversion rate of, you know, of familiar to I'm a super fan or heavy supporter, it's huge, you know?
Oh, 100%. Because I think about all the bands that I've enjoyed too. It's like my top 10 favorite bands right now that I think of. I've seen them at the least 5 times total. Otherwise, it's like between 5 and like 16, 17 times. So you get to just fall in love with a band, fall in love with an artist as a fan. You just want to go and support them because not only are you enjoying the music, but that live show just does something to you. So you're absolutely right. The conversion on a 200-person show is much greater than getting 200, 300,000 views on a YouTube video or, you know, 1 million views on it, like a Instagram short or a TikTok. You know.
I don't know about the music video. The music video is different, but yeah, definitely, you know, getting 200,000 views on a short form piece of content or playing in front of 200 people that are convert to like a super fan, that's way, I'll take that 200 all day. 200 people, you know.
Well, now we got to try and find ways for you to get in front of even more people than just 200 at a pop. I mean, hopefully there's a larger tour coming in the fall.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm 200 is a random number, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, you know, like, it's not like a specific number. I'm just saying whatever number of people that I'm performing from, of 1,000 people or 500 people, it's always better just to, you know, get that conversion of a fan in person, you know.
No, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen, especially as we go throughout the rest of the year And especially with some of those bigger festivals, the DWP festivals that happen, I always know there's some times where on bills that have, 120, 160 artists, someone's going to end up falling off due to some sort of conflict, some sort of visa issues. We see it all the time. And I'm hoping that at some point in time, especially for a festival like Larger Than Life, where if that does happen, you're the one that ends up getting that spot, because then you get a chance to be in front of potentially thousands of people, not just, 200, 1,000. No, I'm talking thousands, plural. I want to see that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, same here, man. That's definitely the goal with all this shit. And yeah, it's like I said, it's just this whole music industry stuff. There's times where it's just super hard, but it just boils down to survival of the fittest, man. That's it. How long do you want to hang on the bar, and how long are you willing to deal with bullshit and this, that, and the other, and ups and downs? Like, that's what it boils down to.
And you kind of have a little bit of a leg up in that and understanding that as well compared to some other artists in there due to what you've done as a photographer in the past, because you have to build up on that. That just doesn't come overnight. You have to build up on that. You have to hang on for as long as possible to get to that point, and you made it there, so you can do it with music too, for sure.
Yeah, you eat a lot of shitty fucking sandwiches before you have a good one. That's just part. You want a good one, then you're going to have to eat a lot of shitty sandwiches to get a good one. And that's just how it is. So many different careers, businesses, and entertainment careers, and any type of career,
Oh, absolutely. Would you go back into like being fully in a photography mode and try and split between photography and music again? Or is this something that's like, now we're going to go fully into music, we're all in on that?
You can never say never, right? But I'm very confident that I don't ever want to be like photographer mode ever again. I just like doing the music stuff, and I feel exhausted with the photography stuff that I've done. I'm good. I did what I want to do. I scratched that itch. I did all the cool stuff and shot all sorts of different things and brands and products. I feel like good.
He's done enough with that. Now it's on to the next thing, and it's his music, and it has the potential to be incredibly large. It has the potential to be something that you're going to end up hearing in massive ballrooms and arenas at some point in time. Maybe in the next 2 years, maybe the next 5 years, you never know. But there's absolutely a chance here with this style, with your sound, and of course with so many people heavily getting focused in on the heavier side of music with rock and metal and anything in that spectrum.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I just don't know when, and I'm here to ride it out. So.
Yeah, ride it out, hang on the bar as long as possible. However, when it comes to touring, though, especially with you really getting behind this whole entire music thing, when it comes to artists that you enjoy, artists that you love, which artists out there are artists that you absolutely want to tour with in the next couple of years, and why?
Marilyn Manson, Ghostman, Slipknot, Korn, Slaughter to Prevail, Falling in Reverse. Like bands like that, all day. Well, yeah, all day. And just the reason why is because I just think our sounds and stuff align. And Paleface Swiss, fuck, I love those guys. These are my fucking boys, and I really support them. Yeah, I love all of them.
I'm kind of surprised that you just aren't going to get like a little random 1-time or 2-time spot in that Paleface Swiss tour as it comes up.
Yeah.
Honestly,
sorry, you cutting out. What'd you say?
I said I would be surprised if you don't get like a 1 or 2-time spot on that Paleface Swiss tour over the course of the next month and a half.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do something in the future. I just don't know when. But I feel like that's bound to happen.
I hope so. And the other artists that you mentioned too, the crazy thing is as you're saying it, all I'm thinking about is this could absolutely work, absolutely make sense. Manson, with the style that you work with, it has that like that kind of quality to it that really Manson has in his music that could fit. Ghostman, same thing. Slipknot, we've seen Slipknot take out many artists, and it's just could be a great lead into a headlining set that Slipknot has. Slaughter Prevail, Falling Reverse, everything I'm hearing, I'm like, I could easily see this. And Suicide, I could easily see this happening in the next couple of years where it's like, or the next 3 years, every one of these bands has Nathan James on tour with them at some point in time. it would not surprise me. Would it all be in the U.S.? Honestly, no. There's going to be some that they end up going over to Europe and maybe Australia as well.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just excited to see where things go, man. I'm just trying to stay patient, stay calm, be grateful for what I do have and what's coming. That's all I can do. You know what I mean? You can fucking go mad crazy, fucking trying to do this and do that, expectations. So you just gotta try to stay calm, poised. Poised is a word. You gotta be poised as much as you can. Just keep stepping one step at a time.
I think that's very well said, and that's something that as long as you live by that, it's going to make that happen. It's going to continue. And we know what you said, that the new album is coming out in July. We still have another half a year after that in 2025 still to go from you, from your music, from whatever else happened. So what else is happening for you in the second half of 2025 that fans should be excited for?
Just the album, and then, there's probably a 90% chance that I'll be on tour in the fall. I don't know what to yet, but it'll be the album and the tour. And all the new music, yeah.
I mean, let's hope that there's just, I think it's, I know Manson is playing Louder Than Life, so you never know. There might be a little tour that ends up happening around there that all of a sudden you get put on and could be playing Thursday at Louder Than Life, same day too, just because someone ended up dropping off the bill. You never know. Yeah. I'm just putting it out there as a possibility.
Yeah. Well, the tour that Manson's going on, I believe this summer, was a tour that I potentially had an opportunity of being on, but, it ended up being just a night with Manson. You know what I mean? Meaning he's the only person on the tour. But my manager was already talking with their manager about potential different things. So the conversation of potential things happening with me and Manson has started. I've never spoke to him before myself, but again, my manager and his manager have talked, and see what happens. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed, get you out like a lucky rabbit's foot, start rubbing it, because, it's going to happen. It's just depending upon when at this point.
Yeah, that's that.
So, Nathan, I got one more question before we wrap this up. It is something I enjoy asking every single artist I bring on this podcast, a way for us to get to enjoy more new music and discover more new music, and a way for you to get us to know about many of the great artists that you love today. So, I'm going to have to limit this to 3 because we don't want to go like way over and just give people like 100. Can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
I think more people need to get into Paleface Swiss. I feel more people need to get into Stained. I love Stained. Some OGs, Aaron Lewis. And I don't know. I'm going to just give you those 2.
Hey, there's no rules on this podcast, so I asked for 3 and you give me 2. That's fine. You're not the first person this month even to recommend Stained, which is just wild to me. Which is it's fun as hell. But Paleface Swiss, I only got to see him one chance before we've recorded this episode, and I broke my shoe during their set. Like, the shoelace snapped in the pit. I have no idea how it happened. And then I kept wearing those shoes for another, 4 months, even though they were completely broken apart. So I got to thank Paleface Swiss for ruining my favorite pair of shoes.
Yeah, their shows are fucking wild.
Yeah, so if anybody gets a chance to go and see them on their tour, you never know. You might get a very lucky moment where you get one night with Nathan James on that tour as well. Could happen. You never know.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, Nathan, I want to thank you for taking the time today to be on the Chord Progression Podcast. I really appreciate it. Now it's time for me to close this with just 3 things. First things first, when it comes to Nathan James, like you said, there is a new album coming out in July. There's going to be plenty of more music videos coming out, and you never know what to expect when it comes to a tour in the fall. But like I said, 90% chance it's probably going to happen. With which artist, though? Who knows? Hopefully Manson, but we'll find out soon enough. But the best way to make sure you're ready for all of this is go to description of the podcast where it says find Nathan James online. Links and labels for everything where you can find him on social media, where you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure you do that one, where you can be ready for the brand new album to drop and be ready for any shows that are coming up in the future. So be sure to go and do that. Do not miss out on it. All the information is in the description. So go there, click subscribe to the YouTube channel, and take it from there. Now it's time for number 2. Whenever I've guessed in the podcast, Nathan, that I enjoy from the podcast, I tend to make a promise as a way to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish to continue to support you in the future. And this is how I do it. I say when as a way to say this will happen. I just don't have a day or time set yet. But when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will come and find you. I will come and say hello to you. But that's not the promise. The actual promise is first round's on me.
I don't. You're gonna have to buy me a Red Bull or soda because I don't drink.
That's why I say first round. I don't, because if it's, I know there's a lot of people that don't drink. So if it's a Red Bull or whatever, I got you covered.
Hell yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I really, honestly, taking time to talk to me and put me on the podcast. It's awesome. Thank you, man.
You're very welcome. It's my absolute pleasure and very happy to be able to do this and spend my day being able to talk with you as well. So now it's time for number 3. As we bring this to a conclusion, I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye. That is way too final. I made you a promise. I got to keep that promise. Plus, dude, I love this conversation. I want to support you, so this cannot be the only time I have you on the podcast. I got to bring you back at some point in the future. So goodbyes are just way, way, way too final. This is, I'll see you later.
Fuck yeah. I'll see you later, big guy.
Woo! Well, folks, my interview with Nathan James, and now it's time for Kevin's final thought. I'm just going to be blatant as honest as you guys. This dude is absolutely right when it comes to his mindset around music, his mindset on why he's so focusing on the YouTube side of things compared to the others. So let's think about this. We have heard so many times in so many places talk about how important it is to be on, Instagram or TikTok and get those viral moments, which I understand why. They're like the talk of the town for the past couple of years. But he was absolutely right when he said, he would rather play in front of 200 people and connect with 200 people in that way than have a short maybe get like 1 million views, because the turnaround and the impact you can have those 200 people live saying is much more profound than, you saw a popular TikTok or Instagram reel. I hit like on it and I kept scrolling and that was it. It's something where the YouTube side of things, he made so much sense on when he talked about how much more important a subscriber is there, because it's much more of an investment mentally than to follow someone on Instagram or follow someone on TikTok or just to like a video there. The artist has much more room for expanding on YouTube. And yes, I know the attention spans are short. People are more in tune to short form content, but if you are able to convert someone to a YouTube subscriber, they're going to watch your videos. They're going to see them pop up. You can post pictures on there. You can post actual posts on there that your subscribers can interact with. It's more than just a video platform, and why more musicians and more record labels aren't so heavily focused in on it is incredible. It reminds me of all the stuff I was reading about, like, Gary Vaynerchuk, when he started talking about how important TikTok was back in like 2017, 2018 when it was Musically. It makes so much sense as to why YouTube should be the place for you to go. And for me, that just reinvigorated me, where I'm like, okay, I got to focus more into it. I got to do these pieces. I got to really focus in on a couple other ideas around there. But there's so much more potential. Why am I missing on this? I really don't know. But there's got to be focus in on there, and we got to do it. But I really want to see this guy go far. His music has the ability to go far, and you should be along for the ride. So I want to thank Nathan for joining the Chord Progression Podcast. Find him online. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Be ready for the debut album to come out in July. Links are all down below, all labeled as well, so be sure to do that. Follow us at the Chord Progression Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links to the podcast below. There's a subscribe button on YouTube right down here for you to hit. Please hit that, or hit the follow button. Subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hit the like button on these episodes to help push us in the algorithm. Thank you, Nathan. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to bring you back on the podcast again. And that's going to be it for you, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. And you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. The big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!